All right, here we are, Iron Age Radio, episode 11. We're here at Iron Age Gym, the studio, in the stew, with none other than Manitoba's strongest hairstylist, probably.
For sure.
Probably, right? Yeah.
Manitoba's strongest bag bitch, probably too.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know.
Probably not.
Anna's,
not anymore.
Anna helps Thrones, so
yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't say she's a bag bitch.
Well, I would never use that term to begin with anyway, so whatever.
Okay.
But I would never use the B word to describe a woman ever in my life. But here we are, episode 11 here. We until about a few hours ago, we were going to keep this to be a kind of a more local-centric podcast. But we have some new information, some new news in the world of international strongman here that also kind of affects the Canadian guys, because it's a couple Canadian guys in this shit. They've announced the first 10 athletes for World's Strongest Man in Sacramento, California, and lots of your favorites, lots of people that you like to see in these kind of competitions.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over that a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about our upcoming Masters competition that we have. We've had a lot of excitement about that. I'm really excited to talk about that. We're going to announce the first 2 events that we're going to be doing for that competition. We're going to talk a little bit about the log competition we have coming up. And then what we also had was our brilliant, beautiful, wonderful, amazing producer, Denzel, put out on the Iron Age Radio. By the way, he runs Iron Age Radio. People think that that's me. It's not me.
It is not me either. I'm not that funny.
No, he's much more like cheerful and happy on there than I am on social media. So you should really kind of you should have been able to tell that wasn't me when he's like talking, like interacting with people and talking to them and stuff. That's not something that I typically do on
we're both very
phone.
active on social media, but in very useless ways.
Yeah, a lot of doom scrolling, not a lot of responding.
Right. Or also if Tyler says he's working, it's usually him trying to pick fights and comments of random accounts I've never even heard of.
When you're as good at hating as I am, it becomes a job. You turn your passion into your work and you never work a day in your life. Can
I say the one time I was annoyed with you because you wouldn't do something, and I was like, oh my god, you're picking fights online, and you're like, no, I'm done. It's because nobody else commented and I'm bored of it.
I tried. I was just putting it out there. Nobody was biting,
bit.
So I left it at that. I don't remember what that was about, but I do remember that. So let's start with the big stuff here. We'll start on a world level and kind of work our way down here. So the first 10 athletes announced for the World's Strongest Man competition. We've got friend of the show, not adjacent friend of the show. He hasn't been on it yet, but we're going to work on that. The leader, the king of SCC Canada, or Strongman Corp Canada, Max Boudreau.
Yeah,
we love seeing that.
I'm so excited. And he looks sick in that photo,
He looks
too.
really jacked.
Yeah.
Huge performance at North Americans, gave him a real kick in the butt that I think that he needed after some of the injuries that he's been suffering. Great performance at Giants Live, in the podium on that one, which gives him that instant kick up to Worlds, is my understanding.
The sickest overhead press of the year, I want to say.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But he's a guy where he wasn't there last year, and I think that kind of stood out as somebody who was like, that's weird that Max isn't there, especially with some of the other names that were invited. But he is back. He's in great form from what we're seeing from him lately. And Worlds is just a good competition for him. It's a very, it's a guy who, or as a guy who's, I mean, he's insanely statically strong, don't get me wrong. But he moves well, he's very explosive, he's athletic, and that's going to be, it's usually a good competition for him.
And he's very fun to watch, too.
Yes,
he's very entertaining, and he works with a crowd, too. He has a personality.
Yep. Super entertaining. Just like, I've said before, the stuff that you see guys doing, and you're kind of like, come on, where they fucking bang their heads and they're punching themselves and they're fucking screaming, whatever.
Right.
That's what Max does, but it's you don't go, come on, for a second. You see it and you're like, this guy's fucking
It's
intense.
not for a show, it's just who he is.
This is real.
Yeah.
So we love that. We love seeing Max there.
And he's also future Mr. Beliveau, so.
Future Mr. Beliveau, goodness gracious. Moving on to another one of Gian's favorites, the returning champion, Tom Stolman.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry a lot this year,
if he
probably.
wins again? Yeah. What's your favorite thing about Tom Stolman? Why is he? Because I
don't want to do it.
Is he your favorite strongman?
Yeah, he is.
Why is he your favorite?
Because he's nice to his family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he loves Dolly.
He does. Yeah, that's right. He did shout out Dolly on that.
And so for Christmas one year, Tyler got me a cameo from Tom, and he made sure that he FaceTimed me while I watched the video, and I was out running errands and crying in public.
Yeah.
And also, okay, so I love that he points up to the sky when he wins because he's pointing at his mom.
Yeah. Him and his dad and Luke.
Yeah.
It's all very powerful stuff, hey?
Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
Nice.
Yeah.
Makes you feel nice. I don't want to cry.
Don't cry. So Tom Stoltman, I think that he's a
Yeah.
lot of people's favorites too, because he's just one of those big personalities in Strongman.
He's very sweet.
He's he's very open and honest about his like autism and the benefits and detriments that has to his Strongman career. So he's a very fun guy to watch, and I don't think there's many people out there who don't cheer on Tom Stoltman when he's doing his thing. On the other side of that coin, Mitch Hooper.
Yeah. Mitch is also there.
The other Canadian guy, Mitch Hooper, second place last year,
Right.
looking to take it back. He's been on a pretty unbelievable streak this last little while. I would be really curious if you kind of took like a poll.
And damn it, is he healthy right now?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Fuck.
He's looking like he's in really good shape.
Yeah.
I'd be interested if you took a poll of like Canadian people who watch Strongman,
Right.
which would mostly be the athletes, I think. But like, let's just say it's everybody. If you wanted Tom or the Canadian Mitch to win, I'd be curious to see what those numbers are like.
You know what? I feel like everybody loves him if you're not in the strongman community. If you are a fan,
Yeah.
and if you're not involved in Canadian strongman,
Yeah, it just doesn't really matter, right?
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like
That's
he's
true.
just, like he would be anyone's favorite who's
And
not
I love
within the
watching
community.
him compete. To be clear, I think that he's
It's very impressive.
Yeah, he's an insane
Yeah.
athlete, and
Yeah.
I never try to take that away from somebody. Where it's like, even if you're watching, like if I watch something different, like something completely other than strongman, UFC, whatever, you can dislike someone's the way they present themselves, maybe, or their personality, or whatever. But understand that they are a once in a lifetime athlete, which is exactly what Mitch Hooper is,
Right.
and there's no taking that away from him. And I would say he's probably the odds-on favorite to win this year.
Yeah.
I think that Tom is never out of the running, but I think that Mitch is just like, he's on such a tear right now. It would really take something for somebody to. It would be really surprising for him not to take first. Never mind, get on the podium, whatever, right?
Right.
So that's exciting. We'll see how that goes. Another really exciting one that I think became a little bit of a surprise to me, but it's awesome to see is Martins Licis.
Yes.
We like Martins.
I like Martins.
Yeah, he's very fun to watch. And we were talking about this the other day. He's one of the very few strongmen who has a good YouTube channel.
Yes.
I think him and Lucas Hatton are the only ones that I like, and they're so completely different.
Yeah.
They're not the same at all. Because Lucas is just exactly what I want to see from most strongmen. If you don't have like the creativity and the drive and desire to do what Martins is doing with the Strength Unknown series, which is amazing to watch, super fun. It feels like you're watching like a real like Discovery Channel kind of show.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you're not doing that, just show in the trenches, hardworking information, too. That's what Lucas does. That's really, really well. But that's all that I want to see is either the best that people can put out or the simplest, easiest to watch things that people can put out,
Right.
which is what Lucas does. And I those are both ends of the spectrum of really good stuff, and everyone falls in the center of being, I tried a CrossFit workout.
Yeah.
Or I ate my girlfriend's
These are my
dinner.
meals for the day
Yeah,
or
it's just like,
whatever,
man,
yeah.
that shit sucks.
Well, it's because it's so done. Like everything is in the middle is so done.
Yeah, it's all
Everybody
very
does it.
contrived,
Yeah.
and it's boring to me. And it's
Also,
all
shout out to Romark for making everything so beautiful.
yes,
on
absolutely.
Martin's channel.
Yeah, Gia and Romark are friends.
No, we met one time, and
But you're both
we're
Filipino, so
we're
it was
both
like,
Filipino,
yeah, it
so
was a
he's my
connection.
kuya. Yeah.
But like, oh shoot, oh yeah, and they always like the YouTube videos are always like the thumbnails are them going like, and then it's like the world's craziest hot sauce, and it's just like some stupid shit like that.
and
just
it's
like,
their
fuck.
wife, like,
Yeah, just keep that shit. Keep that. We don't need to see that. Also, and then somewhere on that spectrum too is like what Laws and Liz put out, which is like just good, solid content. Like
Yeah.
that's the only YouTube strongman stuff that I really watch.
Yeah.
Everyone else kind of sucks. And Jeffers, I actually watch Jeffers too.
Yeah, me
I,
too.
I watch the homies. Like I watch like
Yeah.
Brian Kitchen. I watch Jeffers. I watch Tristan hasn't put something out in a while, but I like the local guys because they're just doing training shit, and that's what I
Right.
want to see. And I
Oh,
want.
I haven't watched Brian's yet.
I watched it. I
I've been
like it.
meaning to.
Yeah.
Like he's just such a personality.
Yeah,
It's just very fun to watch
I knew this
him.
would be good, and I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. And it's just like I like to watch Jeffers, so I can poke holes in what he's doing and make fun of him and stuff. That's where I get my information from, my content from my own show.
Poke holes in the walls too.
Absolutely. Shout out to Jeffers for pulling 1,000, right?
Stop.
He pulled 1,000, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
What happened?
I don't know.
Well, did he pull 950?
No. Stop. He's so bummed.
Oh, I thought that's weird. I thought okay.
Also, we were very stop. We were very annoying on his live stream.
I actually really enjoyed
As
that,
well.
and I think that's
was
something.
a lot of fun.
That's something that people could consider if you're going to do like a big lift like that.
Yeah.
Or I mean, really, if it's just like a big training day, whatever it might be, like just training for something. I know it's not exactly like conducive to probably like focusing on your workout and stuff.
Right.
But I really enjoyed that. It was fun to have like a live chat with it and stuff, and like a bunch of people
we were
jumped
sitting
in.
there
Yeah,
with
we were
them.
sitting right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. We like a bunch of the people that we like to talk to were just kind of hanging out and they're chatting about it and giving Jeffers a hard time. And
Also, I was at home with a friend from work, and then I said, "Oh my god, we have to watch this." She doesn't give a fuck.
no.
She doesn't care, but she's nice enough to humor me because I really wanted to watch it live.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there making all these stupid comments, just roasting Jeffers. And
me and Gian were both. I was standing in front of the TV, but Gian's sitting on the couch with her friend, and we're both just looking at our phones, watching on the TV, and like doing the group chat thing on our phones. And it was I'm sure it was a very pathetic sight to see.
she was very nice about it.
Yeah,
She's
she
very
was
lovely.
very very friendly about it. Okay, getting back to some of the picks here for the strongman competition, World's Strongest Man. Maybe you've heard of it. Hapthor Bjornsson, very likely not to accept his invitation. He has a real beef with World Strong. I don't know if you know this or not, but he's a real beef with World's Strongest Man, and he will probably not be there. So this is So I should say
those are confirmed.
This is invited. This is not confirmed. I think I might have said confirmed athletes before.
Oh, it said It's
just invited. So at least season we don't know who's taking their invitations yet. Like Alexei Novikov, another one who has been invited. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries. I think that he'll take this because it's like Worlds, but he's laid low for the last little while because he's just not been in his normal shape.
I think he's having a hard time saying no too.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say with a guy like that too, because as we all know, there's a little bit of something's going on in the Ukraine there, and it's hard to say how much he can afford to say no to.
Right.
He gets paid to do this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he gets sponsorship to do this stuff. So it's like maybe saying no isn't always an option when you're taking care of
and when
who knows
you're,
what in a war-torn country. You know what I mean?
But when you're also passionate about something, which clearly all these men are, it's really hard to sit back and watch that world keep turning without you, right?
Absolutely.
Like that would be really hard.
Yep. Speaking of Ukraine, looking amazing in this photo that they picked of him, Pavlo Kordiaka.
He looks sick in that photo.
Yeah.
He looks like an old-timey strongman.
It's if you haven't seen it, go to the World's Strongest Man and look at the page where they have the first 10 invited athletes, and he looks awesome in it.
And he's just in the middle too.
Just jacked like this.
Yeah.
Love Pavlo. Love watching him lift. Love watching him compete. Super technical lifter. Really coming into his own this last little bit too with some big performances. Also a guy who's dealing with the I keep losing the word that I'm looking for here. Conflict in Ukraine. So hard to say if these guys are really ever going to be at 100% in these competitions until their country being destroyed is not on their mind.
Right.
But it's good to see them as active as they have been. Pavlo's been posting a lot of his training. He's looking really good. Eddie Williams, the singing strongman, he had a good showing at WSM last year. He was one of the guys when he got invited. I was kind of like, Eddie Williams, like to Worlds, come on. He always does. He always goes to the Giants Live in Royal Albert. Does fine, but never like the top of the leaderboard or in the top half, I should say. But he did really well at the World's Strongest Man last year. He made it to the Stone Off, lost to Luke Stoltman. So not shocked that he gets another invite this year. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he can build on that. He's seems to be one of the nicer guys in strongman. He seems like very, very sweet guy.
I feel like everybody's nice except for
me,
Hooper. I'm being careful as if he's gonna watch this.
Yeah, yeah, he don't want to get mad at you. Luke Richardson, coming back off of a couple of injuries, looked really great. Yeah, looked really great at his Giants Live performance. Mm-hmm. Second place, I believe he got there. So that's a great invite in my mind.
Crazy how young he is.
Yeah,
doing this.
Yeah, he's called the future. He's been away for a little bit, and he's still the future because he's still such a young guy. Trey Mitchell.
Jeffers Senior.
Yeah, Trey's one that's going to be really, really fun to watch this year because since he's come back from that injury, he's just really seemed to turn it on. That huge deadlift that he pulled at the World Championships, the heaviest raw deadlift that's been pulled, I'm pretty sure was the number. I just love watching Trey compete. Seems like a very simple guy in a good way. You know what I mean? Like he just likes to lift weights and
he likes strongman.
Yeah, he likes strongman, and I love when they interview him because he's just like clearly he's not one of the guys who's been like had a mic shoved in his face many times in his life, and I just love hearing him talk. He's a very honest, simple guy. Like I keep saying, he's more simple. I mean that in a good way. No, he doesn't.
He doesn't care about the fame.
I don't think he was a guy where he like ever grew up being like, I want to be famous and being interviewed in front of 1,000 people. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think that was on his mind.
1,000.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Well. So that's the first 10, and it's already like if those guys all take their invites, that's the beginning of a very stacked competition there. So. Really excited to see how that goes. We hope that Max is able to accept his invite, and we hope to see him do really well. He's gotten the podium. He's gotten third before at Worlds, which is like very rare air to get to. Is that on that podium? And it'd be
not
great
a lot of men get to do that.
No, it'd be great to see him improve on that. But I'd love to see him. When you get third, there's not a whole lot of place to go up. But hopefully, I'd love to see it happen though.
Yeah.
And if he can show up in that shape that he was at for North Americans or Giants Live, doesn't seem crazy to me. So, moving on from that, we have announced our first couple of competitions, one competition and one exhibition, I want to call it, in our Manitoba season here. So we have on March 8th, I just figured out for a second, I didn't know it was May or March. March 8th, we have our charity log lift competition right here in Iron Age, right at this platform behind us here. We do that in support of the North End Women's Center. We always raise, we've raised in the neighborhood of like $1,600 like every time that we've done this, which I just go and hand them a stack of cash when I get there, and it's always kind of a weird, awkward, like they don't know what's going on, and I just say, here, just take this. And they probably think that I like rolled somebody for it or something, but it's the North End Women's Center does a lot of really great work in the city. One of our members, Willow, her grandmother was one of the people who founded it. She did found it. Yeah, right. Yeah. So she's one of the key players in something like that. And we're happy to be able to support in whatever little way we do. All the money that's raised, every last penny, cent, dollar, whether it's from the athletes registering or donations from spectators the day of, is given to the North End Women's Center. We don't have any kind of overhead for this, so there's nothing that we need to get paid on or anything.
No.
And
we're not doing shirts. We're not.
No, it's a very simple show, and that's we do that way on purpose, and we have it in the season where we do on purpose. Where I've said this before on here, but the log competition is a very simple one lift exhibition. It's not a competition. I keep saying competition, but it's an exhibition that leads into the novice competition that leads into the regular season. So you get the idea of lifting in front of a crowd, lifting on somebody else's time, lifting on somebody else's equipment in their space, whatever it might be. With the log competition, we go to the novice competition, which is April 12th at Iron Image in Selkirk. And that's, the next sort of step where it's okay, now we have 5 events and we have to train for these like individually and we have to try whatever, blah, blah, blah. We have other people that we're competing against.
It's all like getting you warmed up for the season.
It's gradient. Yeah. It's like a gradient, right? So, and then it goes to Tolstoy, which I'm not sure if I've announced that yet, but that's the first like regular season one in May.
Yeah.
But the one that we have announced, we've made a poster for, and we've now released information on is Western Canada's Strongest Master. This was kind of an idea that I hatched when I wanted to think about a competition that we could bring people into Manitoba for. We always get a really great turnout from our competitions from Manitobans, and that's the best. I love that. But I wanted to try to have something where we could be like, let's get some Alberta, some Saskatchewan, some BC, some Northwest Ontario. We opened up to Northwest Ontario for this one too, because they kind of get hooped. Where it's like they're technically a part of the East, but they're so far.
They're so far from being able to make it work.
Yeah, they're much closer to us. So we're going to include them in this one. And I'll tell you right now that we've had one woman, and I'm sure that everyone can figure out who it is, from Thunder Bay, who's looking forward to doing it, who just did pretty well at a international competition. So it's a very exciting idea. We've had a really great response from men and women for this one. We're going to do a cap of 15 athletes in each division. If for whatever reason, let's say that like only 13 men sign up, we'll do 17 women. We're going to have 30 athletes no matter what. So if we hit that 15 cap, we will still accept registrations without payment, but just registrations that will put them on a waiting list. And if someone has to back out or bow out for whatever reason, or if we don't get enough of the other division, we'll just move down that list and invite people. Right. So if you don't, I urge people to not wait, because we've had definitely more than 15 people in men and women ask us questions and ask when registration is, and just be generally messaging us about it. So if you are trying to do this competition, I really urge you to not wait. We will say the exact time that it goes live, and get signed up, because it's going to be a high demand.
Also, I can't believe I have to say this because it seems crazy. Try not to no-show competitions if you register. Yeah. You pay money to do it, and you're holding up a spot.
Yeah.
Where people want to be in that spot.
Yeah, just tell us if you don't want to do it. It's not a big deal.
Like a quick text or whatever.
You were holding that one in, or what?
I don't know. It was just really weird. I never thought we would have to deal with that.
Yeah. Strongman's a weird thing. So we're really excited for that. So that's going to be June 7th in Morris.
Yeah.
We've done. We had a Rumble in the Valley Pro-Am the first year that we were there. Mm-hmm. That was a great competition. We had Jeffers come in. We had a bunch of the Manitoba guys. We had me and Dan as the pro. Or was Dan a pro at that point?
No,
he wasn't.
Not yet.
Not yet. So it was me and Jeffers as the pros, with a bunch of Manitoba amateur guys that really stepped up and had a great competition that season or that day. And the next year, it was such a success that we decided to make it Manitoba's Strongest Man and Woman. Mm-hmm. This year, with Westerns being on the same date, and me, Dan, Langelar, and potentially a few others, we'll wait to see before I say any names on that, doing Westerns, it just didn't make sense to have Manitoba Strongest on that day when so many of the top male guys would be gone. Like, it just wouldn't be a proper representation of what it is. So we're going to push that to a little bit later in the season. That will get announced later. I might have said it on here already. I'm not sure. But I wanted something big. The Morris show is like a really exciting opportunity for Strongman, for us. They take good care of us. There's a built-in audience there. The Rumble in the Valley is like a tractor pull thing they do there. So I encourage everyone who's planning on coming to compete to plan to stick around and watch that. It's some cool shit. And I wanted something that's going to be big and cool and unique and offer something that's not being currently offered in Western Canada. And I thought a big cash prize competition for our top masters, because we have a ton. I put out like a little hey, who are the masters in your area, and tagged all like the Saskatchewan and BC and Alberta coordinators, and I got a huge list of people. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, this could be a really viable thing.
It's a very competitive category.
Yeah. I mean, just in our province, we have a lot of really good ones. And I really, like, if I could name off 5 in each category just in Manitoba.
That hold their own.
That would be really good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We have Jocelyn and Gord, who were national champions right here in the province. So please, guys, I need you guys to do that one, because I want to see how you guys stack up with the rest, because I think that you do quite well. Jocelyn showing that she can hang with pretty much anybody in the world at her weight class and division. So let's get to the 2 events that I wanted to announce for that competition. The first one, to preface this a little bit, I wanted to try to set events. People asked us if we're going to be having 50-plus division, if we're going to be having lightweight division. No. This is going to be a little bit of an old school competition in that way, where it's 40-plus, but it's just open beyond
masters.
That. Yeah, just masters.
And masters means 40-plus.
Yeah, Eaglesham, not late
39.
30s or whatever.
It's not 39-plus.
So 40-plus, no weight class. So what I wanted to do, though, is I wanted to make sure that events are scalable, so that if a lighter athlete, an older athlete, whatever it might be, wants to jump in, it's going to be challenging for those top guys, and it's going to be accessible for the guys who those top weights might be a little bit much or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Honestly, next year, like, this is like if the demand for this is good enough, I might make next year like a little more of like an application process, because when I announced the show, I was concerned about filling it, and now it's like we're gonna have a lot of people, and I think it might be worth making sure that we do have those top guys and top girls in Western Canada.
Right.
But anyway, for this year, it's open, so take advantage of that. And scalable events. So the first event is going to be a log press for max. So we're going to have the men start at 220, the women start at 120, and we're going to do 20-pound increments for the men, maybe 10 for the women, I think would be appropriate probably. Didn't really think about that, honestly, but that's what we're going to do. And guys, just rising bar. As people fail, they fail. 3 attempts. And if we start to get to that point where it's like there's like 3 guys left, and we're at, say like 300 or whatever, maybe 320 feels like too big of a jump, we'll confer with that amongst the athletes. We'll figure something out that makes sense to everybody. But that's going to be our first event. or our first event announced. Like I said on the post, none of these are necessarily the order of the events, but this is just the first one that we're announcing. And the second one that we're going to be doing is a yoke run into a farmer's carry. Classic event. Two very like classic, to use the same word, shows of strength, but both dynamic, both moving. Grip versus that like just brutal like full body strength that a yoke requires. It'll be probably 50-50, like 50 feet one way, 50 feet the other way, unlimited drops. And again, while these weights are going to be heavy, they're going to be like, we're selecting heavy weights. It's going to be, no one should zero like the yoke, right? Like everyone should be able to break it and walk with it. Even if they don't finish, there shouldn't be a zero. So
right.
that's kind of what we're striving for. And it's going to be, like I said, we're gonna pick weights that are challenging. We truly want this to be a test of like the strongest master. We don't like, I'm very excited to offer this opportunity for Masters competitors to have another place, another avenue to compete. But I do want this to be a competition where we find out who the strongest Masters are in Western Canada. So it's going to be a real test of that. So, anything you want to add to those?
No.
No? You good? Okay. First two events, Max Log, Yoke to Farmers. We got 3 more to announce, and we'll do 2 or maybe 3 next week. So we had our wonderful producer guy Denzel,
our special boy,
a special little guy, pull up or put up a question of just like, hey, it's the end of the year, very broad, very vague. Just what was your top shit that you saw this year in Strongman? Whether it was local, whether it was national, whether it was international, whatever it might have been. And the nice part is that so many of our national and even local people are making waves internationally, so it kind of starts to cross over a little bit, which is always great to see. But we took everyone's just things that they said, and we're going to either run through them, and that'll be, we'll just a point at a time, or we'll stop and chat about things if we feel like there's something to talk about with it. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll start with the international stuff. We talked about a few of these things a lot, so we're going to, some of these we'll kind of brush over things that seem like really big deals, but we've already discussed them kind of quite a bit. Max's performance in North Americans,
insane.
Just talked about that even a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
They had to add an extra digit slot because he got into the triple digits with his points, which they didn't expect to happen. So if that's not a dominating performance, I don't know what is.
Right.
And it was really him. I think it was Thrones who said like, did somebody just like remind Max like at the beginning of this competition that he's really good at strongman?
Yeah.
Because he just turned it on that day and it was like unreal.
Because he had an injury and then he came back and he wasn't quite ready yet.
Yeah.
And then he came back. And then he was very ready.
Very ready. Yeah. And it was awesome to see. Jackie Oshevsky's, someone specifically said her stone run, but I'll go a little broader and just say her getting second place at World's Strongest Woman.
Yeah.
Which is unreal. Hopefully the beginning of like opening a new lane for her to be like, hey, this is somebody to consider for like those next level of shows, because she not only did she get second to Rebecca Roberts, who is now the 3 times World's Strongest Woman, and very, very much part of that next tier of athlete. She's only behind by like 5.5 points.
Right.
So it wasn't like she ran away with it. It wasn't like she was like way ahead of her or anything. Jackie was hung there and had an incredible stone run.
Yeah.
That really solidified her position as like, this is somebody to watch for. So respect to Jackie. I can't wait to see what's going on with her next year. And then another international one here that was good was Max's pressing at Strongest Man on Earth, where this was before they figured out that they had the axles wrong.
Right.
And so he hit this. It was after. God damn it! I should have went back and watched this. But the pressing itself was amazing. He hits the press, puts it down. Oh, takes a little tumble on the log behind him. The guys come to get him. He's like, "What the fuck?" Like, kind of wakes up. Normally, that would be the end of a run.
Right.
When you go unconscious, that's usually
it. Yeah.
Not for Max, because he got the fuck up and he hit the next press. It was unbelievable. He's like, he really is like. It's funny because they call him Wolverine, and it's like that was like real time, like this incredible recovery and getting back to it and having this like viciousness. that a lot of people just don't have.
He waved them off like they were in the wrong.
Like they were doing,
they were.
What are you doing? Like, get out of my way! Like, why are you touching me right now? Like, I got a fucking.
I'm busy.
Yeah, I got a fucking axle to press here. So nothing but respect to Max. He's one of those guys where he is exactly what you want in like a top guy representing your country. He like I used the word before, but he's like vicious when it comes to his competition. There's very few guys who like attack things the way that he does, and he's
and not
awesome.
in a way that's like okay.
No,
Yeah,
it's just
love it.
He's a monster.
Love to watch it.
Another it's kind of crosses over from local to international, but Jocelyn Grimolfsson taking getting not only getting into the finals at her OSG performance, but finishing 6th place.
Yeah,
unbelievable. Just like an awesome, and getting 3rd in the sandbag throw to finish the top 3 in your class in any event is incredible.
Yeah.
And Jocelyn's Manitoba's strongest woman. She also has records in powerlifting, provincial records in powerlifting. She's ridiculously strong, and she hasn't topped out yet.
Right.
She still has a long way to go.
No signs of stopping.
No. Has a long way to go in her until she hits that ceiling, which I don't know where it is. And I'm really excited to see her. I hope that she does strongest woman in the West this year. Mm-hmm. And I know that like it's like as you kind of get to these things, like she's a grown woman with a real job and all this shit. Like I don't.
She got shit to do.
She got shit to do. So I know that she can't get away. Like it's probably harder for her to be like for say someone like me or. Even Langelar or Dan or whatever, where it's like, well, what the fuck else do I got going on? Of course I'm going to go to these competitions. It's not quite the same when you're a real adult with real things going on.
We're real adults.
No, we're not. So, but respect to Jocelyn for that one. Really awesome.
And also just the nicest lady.
A super nice lady, yeah. Great teeth.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, I feel so weird when I'm talking to her because all I see is how perfect her teeth are.
She's got great teeth. But and then on that same note, her, Gord, and Bosco all having a great day at OSG, and can't wait to see them all have a chance to improve on that. So locally, we had people kind of just give like, here's a thing that happened, and then we also had people kind of be like, here's like the winner of a category that they kind of created, like a whatever. So let's just go through this list. I just wrote them all down, and we'll just kind of bang them out. For the most impressive lift, we had a few. Dan's circus dumbbell at Manitoba Strongest Man. Nobody in Manitoba has really ever had like a good circus dumbbell.
Right.
There's nobody here who's really like done something that would like hang on like another like a bigger stage.
Right.
And Dan did that. He hit 240. He could have done more.
Yeah.
I think he could have hit 250 that day, which would have been like kind of getting to that next sort of like, oh, holy shit, that's really something. And 240 is very impressive. I did not have it in me that day, and I was at my absolute best circus dumbbell performance that day, and I think that he had more. So that was awesome. It's really nice to have somebody who's finally hitting like big numbers on that.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited now that we've been doing this off-season work with Terry Hadlow. I think that it's going to be even better for him when he goes back to it.
That's going to be crazy.
Yeah. A lot of like the guys who took part in that, I know that we've all talked about it, but we've all really been like, damn, that really helped my overhead. So next time we do that, I really urge you guys like take advantage of it because it was very cheap and it was very effective. Another best lift was Anna tying for first in the overhead press at Strongest Woman in the West, and not only tying for first against Jocelyn O'Brien and Jackie Oshevsky.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, we know, like, people who know Anna know how good she is and how good she's going to be, too. But I think it was kind of a nice thing where people saw this girl who it's like, they don't know who Anna is out there. Mm-hmm. She's very new to the scene. Maybe they've heard of her. Maybe they saw her at Nationals, whatever. But for her to show up and just like be like, oh shit, this is a girl who can really hang. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
It was like a perfect overhead event for her, where it was like a press off of the blocks, the world's strongest man, like Flintstone style deadlift or press, and just really like just stamping her name in it and being like, just watch out for me next year, guys. Which we can't wait to see. I really hope that. I hope that she's able to make it work. I know that her Olympic lifting stuff takes precedence, and we get it. But I hope that she can make something work.
I don't love it, but we understand.
No, you know what? I know you're joking, but I do like it because we said before that Olympic lifting is going to carry over to strongman so much that like it's like
it's hand in hand. Like
she's
it's
preparing
not
for strongman by getting better at Olympic lifting. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. Don't worry. You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to worry about what I think. I'm fine with it. So this isn't a strongman one, but it is sort of strongman adjacent due to where it took place. Thrones pulling 843 at Deadlift for Dreams.
That's insane.
Unreal.
That's one of my favorite videos.
Yes.
Watching his deadlift.
Unbelievable deadlift. Unbelievable. Like, I don't give a shit if you're powerlifting, strongman, whatever. Yeah, you hit shit. Who gives a shit?
Right.
That's just that's unbelievable. And
if it's up, it's up.
If it's up, it's up in my mind. Yeah, that's strongman 3 white lights as far as I'm concerned, except for sumo. But it was well, it's just not, right? But it was awesome, and it's the beginning. Like, that's him, putting that crack in that 850 number.
Yeah.
And then by the end of next year, I think that'll be something that he's hitting like in competition. By the end of 2025, I think that's something he's hitting in competition. You heard it here first. And the last lift, we're gonna put lift in quotations because it's not exactly a traditional lift in what you might be thinking of. Andrew Langelaar's Zercher squat catch. From when a young powerlifter in a meet just lost it, got off his back, and Andrew did exactly what you should not do, and caught it in the crook of his elbow. And thankfully, Andrew is a very strong young man, and he was able to make that work. But I think that Andrew, I speak for Andrew when I say, don't do that. If you're a young guy who's like, oh, that was a great way for him to get some pub and some followers, maybe I should do that the next time that I get an opportunity at a powerlifting meet. Don't do it, because you're not Andrew.
There's so many ways it could have gone wrong.
Yeah, but it was an incredible lift. It was all over the fucking internet. Like it was
weird because we were there. We watched it happen.
Yeah, I watched
too.
it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was a very, very impressive thing that you don't want to see again.
And little did I know too that he would be a part of the community a few months later.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because I didn't know who he was at the time.
Yeah, well, he caught it, and then he realized, oh, this is way like just catching something odd and carrying on. This is way cooler than powerlifting, and then strongman was there for him. So respect to all of those people who had the varying best lifts that at least
of the year?
At least that stuck out in people's minds. Oh, excuse me, I have another one here. Emmerdale hitting the big dog log after missing. So he went for at the charity log competition. He went for, I think it was 245, 250, whatever he had on there. He went for a push jerk, didn't get it, and then he's like, I got this. Went for again and hit this beautiful split jerk.
Yeah.
And it was just this moment where you're like, holy shit, you couldn't believe it. Emmerdale's like a lighter guy. He's a U80 competitor. That was an awesome lift. I would call that one of my
favorite. It was so snappy.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite lifts of the year for sure. So another one here that came up a couple times would be the biggest upset. Now, would you care to guess what the biggest upset was in Manitoba Strongman this year?
I have a guess.
What's your guess?
It's Langelaar winning MSM this year.
It's Langelaar winning Manitoba Strongest Man this year, and I would agree. And that was an outstanding performance. So I'm trying to find where I wrote it down here. I know that him winning the stones specifically was like a big upset moment because I'm pretty good at stones, and I didn't push myself in the way that I should have on that stone run. I took too long on the last stone because I really didn't think that Andrew had that one. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if I can get this, that's enough. Mm-hmm. And I was wrong because he had gotten very good at stones in the very short time that he'd been doing it, and he beat me by 2 seconds. And that got him the 2 points, or the points or 2 points or whatever he needed to beat me. And it was a kick in the nuts at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was probably one of the better things ended up for me, I think, was that it kind of like took away the sense of like comfort that I had, where it's like, say whatever you want. I'm sure this is going to fucking ruffle somebody's fucking feathers. I still think that I'm the best strongman in Manitoba. But I'm not unbeatable by the Manitobans. And I think that that's kind of important for me to keep in mind. I think that there's guys who are coming up right now. I think that on a good day, Dan could really take it to me. Langelaar has proven that he can take it to me. A guy like Jeremy, he's not there yet, but he's going to be sooner than later.
Very soon.
And these are guys where it's like, well, whether or not they're going to beat me in competition, they're going to be keeping me honest and keeping me working hard. So that was a bit of an eye opener, and that was what I needed. And Langelaar showed the fuck up that day.
Yeah.
He had a great performance. And what can you say besides that he was the strongest person in the province that day?
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it.
You and what a performance too, right?
Yeah.
He stayed consistent,
his
and
second
that's exactly And he had done Stones
but yeah.
once before that.
Yeah. He stayed consistent. He had a good competition throughout. I really bombed on the arm over arm,
Right.
which took me I got second and first in every other event, and then that one I just did so poorly that it put me in a position where I could be taken, and can't have that. So that's what happened, and it's exciting now that we're getting to a point in Manitoba Strongman where you can't have a bad event anymore,
Right?
Because somebody will take you if you do.
Oh, but it makes it so fun.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
I love it.
It's great, and it's got me excited for Manitoba Strongest this year. I've got a list of events that we're going to be kind of like figuring out. They're not going to be tailored to anybody, whatever. Like, they're going to be things that I'm bad at and things that other guys are good at and bad at and whatever. So it'll be a really exciting competition. I'm really just going for like the best possible competition this year for that one. So it's going to be really exciting, and it's going to be the best. Every year now is the best like level of competition that Manitoba's ever seen. So it's like when we first brought it back and Devin took it, that was some of the highest competition that it had seen so far. You know, it goes back to guys like Ryan Espy and stuff winning it. But every year now, it's just the quality is just improving and getting higher, and more guys are at least fighting for a podium spot.
Yeah.
So very, very exciting. Sorry, I lost my place here. Most improved. There was a few names that came up for this one, but I think there's really, in my mind, there's really only one name that you could be like, yeah, for sure. Because not only did he improve from one year to the next, he improved during the year. You want to take a stab at it?
Is it Jeremy?
It's Jeremy Baker. I think that an argument could certainly be made for Langelar. But I think that if you saw where Jeremy sort of started, like Langelar started...
He started good
Yeah.
when he got into Strongman.
Yeah, he started doing well. He's very strong from his powerlifting background, and I think that Jeremy just being at one time a skinny basketball kid and then being a fat
he was like
strongman
a
guy.
runner for a little bit too.
And then there's just been a real change.
Jeremy had put out this video of him deadlifting, and he had already been working with a different coach.
Yeah.
And he was competing, I believe.
Yeah.
He looked like he'd never touched a barbell in his life.
Sorry,
it was insane. But he knows how shitty it is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about him is that he beat Langelar at provincials, so it just creates this sort of like dynamic where it's like, man, anybody can really win these competitions. So yeah, I would give that to Jeremy. And there's lots of guys who saw a huge improvement throughout the year, so don't think that I'm not acknowledging that. But he's a guy where I believe he'll be at Westerns this year. I believe he'll be at the Magnus qualifier this year, and he will be perfectly at home in both those places.
Yeah.
Best performance. So we already talked about Jocelyn at OSG, but Jocelyn at Manitoba Strongest Woman was also a huge performance.
Right.
I think people in the know, and I think that this might not necessarily include Jocelyn. I've said this before because I think that she doesn't always know how strong she truly is. I think that she is easily one of the stronger women in Western Canada. Not easily, sorry, but she's up there with all those women.
Right. She can hang.
She can hang. And she showed that at Manitoba Strongest Woman. She had a huge performance, and I very much look forward to her defending it this year. Another great performance was Anna at Strongest Woman in the West. Her first Pro-Am, finishing the top of the AMs, tying for first in an event with two of the real heavy hitters in Strong Woman in the West. And again, really like just like establishing herself as like when she shows up at a show, people will be aware who she is now.
Right.
So that was awesome. And I had it here and I lost it. Thank you for whoever said this one, but Tyler in Gimli and Tyler at CSM, which they were both great days to be named Tyler. Gimli was good for me.
Yeah.
It was one of those days, you talk about like, you hear about those like athlete, like flow state kind of things, whatever.
Right.
Just everything kind of just came together that day. It just felt really good. Right from the deadlift, I picked it up and I was like, this feels like it weighs fucking nothing.
Right.
And I was lucky in that I got the last pick. So I knew what I had to beat. But honestly, I felt like I could have gotten 5 more reps if I needed to. Like, it just felt really fucking great. And it just started off a really good day for me. And then CSM.
That was crazy on 5 days notice.
The events were good for me. You know what I mean? There was no specific grip events. Like the harness pole kind of took that spot, and I love that. That was a good one for me too. There was points that I could have made up, but overall, I was really happy with the performance that day.
Insane. That
And
was
just qualifying for nationals or North American. Sorry.
and I'm not superstitious or anything or whatever, but the whole day, Keelan would say to me, "These are really good events for Tyler."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, you know, we're gonna try our best."
Yeah, we're gonna try it. Just see what's there.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a good day for me, and I was really happy with it. And that's the
Oh, shout out to those huge sandwiches at CSM.
Yeah, the big
Those were
meaty
crazy.
sandwiches. So I have two distinctions right now for CSM, where I'm the only Manitoban to have won an event with the backlifts in 2022.
Yeah.
And I have the highest placing of Manitoban right now with 5th place.
Oh, Manitoban, who's been in the most Laws and Liz videos.
Yeah, I definitely have
Also.
that. That's for sure. Probably the Canadian, to be honest with you. But I have one more time at CSM, and then I will have 3 appearances there. I'll have 3 appearances there, and that will put me ahead of Dom, who was there twice. And then I can die, and I'll be fine. Some of the moments that have been just mentioned was me passing out at Gimli. that was cool. That's how you know you're giving it your all, is when you just take a nap after.
He said to me, I just got to go until I can't, because Brian was still after you.
Yeah.
So he went.
Brian Kitchen is a very athletic guy. He was tall, long legs.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be a good event for him. So I was just talking to
And
myself
man,
in
does
my
he
head.
have energy.
Yeah. He's an athlete. Like, he truly is an athlete.
Yeah.
You can see him. He does cartwheels and stuff between events and shit.
He does basketball.
Yep. And I knew that he was, if anybody was going to beat me, it was going to be him.
Right.
So I just had to push until I couldn't go no more. And that's what I told myself in my head, where I was like, just 1 foot, one more foot, one more foot.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up being exactly what I needed. The best show of the season, the 2 that were mentioned was Manitoba Strongest, man and woman, and the Magnus qualifier, which
They're both beautiful shows.
I would agree with that on both fronts. They both ran incredibly smoothly. They both had great, they were both extremely watchable, great competition. The Magnus show, with just being one division, goes even a little quicker than Manitoba Strongest does. And it's just I guess I always say this, but you can't beat the scenery.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful there.
Yeah. And August Long is always really, really nice.
We've gotten lucky. They just knock on wood for that it's just every year it's just been the perfect strongman weather.
Right.
Where it's warm, you get in the shade, you're fine. There's a little bit of a cool breeze off the water sometimes, which is nice. And it's never super hot or rainy or anything, but please let that be the case forever and ever and ever. So that's that one. And hold on. I'll ask you this one here. Because Jeffers suggested this as a category, but didn't offer the winner. What was the best roast of Jeffers this year?
The calculator thing is one of my favorites.
The calculator thing I really
sure.
like, where he's just staring 75.
Super Suit is also really, really funny.
Yeah, the super suit's a good one.
I don't know. There's a lot. He's very easy to roast. The Kool-Aid Man thing isn't really a roast. It's just
Just what happened.
what happened.
Yeah. There's just been a lot, and I
James Tyler Jeffers.
James Tyler Jeffers. one of my favorite things is just talking about Jeffers. So that's and so God bless you, Jeffers, for always giving me lots to talk about, and please don't stop.
And Keelan is also right up there with roasting him.
Absolutely.
She was laying on the couch looking up the Super Suit video, and she's laughing, making him watch
gives
it.
Gives it to him as hard as anybody else, it seems.
Harder, probably.
Yeah. The best recurring meme of the season was Pat and his banana, which I would agree with. I really enjoyed that. That was a very fun thing that we dealt with all season.
I missed those ones.
Yeah, we should probably
We
start
haven't
talking
seen
about
that
Pat
in a while.
loving bananas a little more often.
Right.
The most shocking moment of the season was the the untimely deaths of Devin Penner and Dave Beakley. R.I.P. to both of them. Yep, we miss them both dearly. So that is in about 30 minutes, maybe a little less. That's the whole Manitoba and a little bit of the outside stuff season wrapped up in a nutshell.
What was the worst moment?
The worst moment?
Yeah.
Langlar winning Manitoba Strongest Man. No, the worst
I wouldn't even
moments.
say that's the worst, because it kind of lit a fire under your little bum.
In the moment, it wasn't very fun, but
Right.
it was. Well, I don't know. There wasn't any I don't think anybody. If there was one, and I'm forgetting, I don't know. But the huge injury.
The worst moment for me was Dan breaking his toe.
Yeah, that would be a pretty shitty moment in the season, I guess. If we're talking about like the out of the you at the Magnus, that was pretty bad moments just because of the cold.
Oh, like in Iceland, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the worst time of my life.
But there hasn't been like a catastrophic like bad moment. I'm happy to say that.
Yeah.
Nobody like died
Yet.
yet. You could be the first if you try hard enough this season. Anybody. But yeah. So,
It was a really good season. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
All the shows ran really well. Oh yeah, Tolstoy. I hated Tolstoy.
Tolstoy was the weather didn't really agree with us, so
No.
we're gonna try it again this year and hope for better.
Yeah, we'll hope that it's going to be really nice out in May.
Yeah. So speaking of which, as we look forward into the future of Manitoba Strongman in the 2025 season, crazy, we have Alec Jose coming here February 8th, doing a seminar right here at Iron Age Gym. We're super excited to have him. He just continues this like string that we have of really incredible minds in strongman. We're very careful about who we bring in for this kind of stuff. It's not just the guys who like do well in strongman, because there's a lot of guys who do well in strongman
Right.
who are just good at strongman.
Right.
But it's the guys who have to think a lot. That's who we want to bring in. And that's a guy like Alec who not only gets people good at strongman, he's taken Inez from not competing to, in my mind, the strongest woman in the world right now. He's taken Lucas Hatton, who was like a lower mid, maybe even closer to the bottom guy at the Arnold's amateur one year, to being one of the strongest men in the world. So if that's not somebody that you feel like you can learn from, I don't know what to tell you. Because this is a guy that everybody in Manitoba, strongman. He's also a Olympic weightlifting coach.
Right.
But these are guys that you should be coming and learning from. And I'll say this right now. If you hire a coach in Manitoba and they haven't been to any of these seminars yet, maybe that should tell you something. Maybe they don't really give a shit. Because we're bringing all this stuff to their doorstep, and if they're not coming and learning from it,
Right.
I don't know what to tell you. Because we have a lot of great faces that come to everything that we do. They're always learning, and I love those people. And I love the people who don't come too, but I love you much, much less. And I want you to. I just want everyone in Manitoba to get better, to learn more, and what better way than $85
Right.
for a seminar? Okay, so that's that. The next thing we have the next month is the log competition. We already went all over that, but registration is now open on the ironagestrength.ca page. There's a little Google form there. You can fill it out. You can send us $25. That's going to go directly to the North End Women's Center, and you'll be registered. If you want to do, we will be having a referee there to allow records. If there's Manitoba records being set, they will be acknowledged. So there's that.
Sick.
The only thing that we have announced next is the Masters, Western Canada Strongest Masters, registration opening January 1st. And don't sleep on that one if you're trying to get registered, because it's going to go fast. And we have so many more things to announce during the season, but we'll leave it at that for now. Maybe next show we'll announce or we'll talk about the next thing.
Yeah. Or
Tolstoy,
the
but
novice.
we'll be.
Yeah.
Oh, the novice, April 12th. We'll get a poster made up for that one, and we'll have that one all
Taking a
fired
long
up.
weekend that weekend.
Yep.
Because A, it's a novice show. B, it's my birthday. And I'm going to be working on
Working on her birthday, working with all the novices. So thank you guys very much for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing us into your homes to talk strongman with you. Please consider subscribing. Consider telling a friend if we talked about them in this podcast and they want to hear their name on YouTube. Tell somebody who likes strongman. Tell somebody who wants to hear more about strongman, especially Manitoba strongman or Western Canadian strongman. Subscribe to our channel, like the video, leave a comment. These are all things that I'm told help quite a bit. And Jan, do you have anything that you wish to add to this?
If you like talking shit, you know where to find us.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next week, right?
To be decided.
TBD. See you guys later.
Bye.